Montana Governor Steve Bullock called a special session of the state legislature yesterday from his office in Helena.
I believe we're moving toward a reasonable and responsible compromise. And legislative leaders on both sides of the aisle are aware that I'm calling the legislature back to Helena for a special session to begin with hearings on Monday, November 13th, and for the full body to convene Tuesday, the 14th at noon.
Bullock warned legislators not to take a hard line on issues such as temporary tax increases.
We are elected to responsibly govern on behalf of all Montanans. And to let the perfect be the enemy of the good and instead do nothing would be irresponsible. It's time Montana leaders fulfill our responsibilities to the people we represent and balance our budget in a way that makes sense for Montana taxpayers, workers, families, and communities.
Speaker of the House Austin Knudsen issued the following response.
Let's be clear here. The governor expects the legislature to raise taxes on hardworking Montanans before any effort to reduce non-essential services has been made. There's a distinct lack of leadership from the executive branch, but my caucus will do what needs to be done to address the budget head on while doing what Montanans elected us to do, keeping in mind the taxpayers and those who utilize government services.
Bullock has proposed to address the $227 million revenue shortfall through an equal combination of cuts, revenue increases, transfers, and other legislation based on what he calls realistic revenue projections, end quote. Law enforcement officers in Montana have released the name of a 30-year-old man who died during a weekend standoff with police at a Billings sporting goods store. Billings Police Chief Rich St. John said yesterday that Frank Joey Half Jr. died Saturday at the end of a nearly 10-hour standoff at Big Bear Sports Center. Half has a criminal record and had recently left a pre-release facility. Officials say Half smashed a vehicle into the front of Big Bear about 3 a.m. Saturday and barricaded himself inside. St. John said officers tried to negotiate with him several times and that Half and officers exchanged gunfire, the last time shortly after noon. St. John said there was significant damage inside the store, including broken display cases, discharged fire extinguishers, and numerous shots fired. The efforts by University of Montana administrators to bring the budget in line with enrollment continue, with more meetings to set priorities moving forward at all programs and departments. Interim President Sheila Stearns outlined just one of the methods to be used to phase out some programs.
That's one of our top principles, is to make sure that students finish their degree programs right on time, right on any schedule that they would have been on, but that some programs, based on this process, might not still be a program that we admit new majors to this coming fall.
Stearns said the one wild card in the scenario is the prospect of increasing enrollment.
A nice, probably number of faculty and staff if we had 14,000 students, but not for 12,000 students. So it's a two-pronged effort to get to 75%. One is to grow enrollment, and one is to reduce staff in a complementary way. You don't grow enrollment overnight, and you don't cut staff, all your staff, a lot of staff overnight.
Stearns said she'll receive the final list of prospective cuts in her office tomorrow. Montana officials are working to determine how much timber burned in summer wildfires at Lolo National Forest is salvageable. The Missoulian reports nearly 10% of the 3,125 square mile a national forest in western Montana was burnt. Lolo National Forest Supervisor Timothy Garcia says, based on their forest plan allocations and past experience with fire salvage, they expect between 10 and 15% of the area burnt will be identified for salvage. So far, forest officials have announced they plan to do salvage logging on 7 square miles burned in 2 wildfires. The agency is also working to determine how many acres will be salvaged from 2 additional wildfires. Forest officials still have not made a decision on timber burned in a 5th fire. After the massacre of 26 people in a small church in Texas, houses of worship in Montana are getting professional help in protecting their congregations from similar attacks. Seth Lodine with Glidewell Insurance in Missoula is a church insurance specialist and is constantly on the road helping churches in small, medium, and large communities throughout the state.
Definitely having a security team that receives some kind of training from either local law enforcement or a specialist that would come to the church and review security policies and actually go through active scenarios with church leadership.
Lodine said churches and other organizations such as Christian schools are calling his office for information about security following what happened in Texas.
One of the schools, larger Christian schools in Montana, just this morning engaged in a training exercise for staff and children in the event that something like that happens. It was almost kind of a lockdown procedure.
Lodin said there are other companies that offer similar protections for synagogues, but he does not know of any companies that write insurance policies for mosques. On Sunday morning, Missoula police were first responders in an incident that involved a self-inflicted wound and later a felony arrest. Police spokesman Travis Welsh explains.
About 10:22 a.m., officers were called to report of a disturbance in the 1600 block of South 2nd Street West. Female caller reported that her boyfriend had actually cut himself with a pair of scissors and that he was yelling and screaming after she had indicated to him that she wanted to break up.
While police were treating 20-year-old Ethan Ray Buffalo, the girlfriend revealed that he wasn't the only one who had been recently injured.
While the officers were speaking with the female complainant, they learned that the night before she reported that he had strangled her to the point that she couldn't breathe, and Mr. Buffalo was arrested for strangulation of partner or family member.
Buffalo was taken to the hospital to be treated for his scissor wound and then jailed on the strangulation charge. A hunter in Montana was attacked by a grizzly bear while tracking an elk he shot, leaving him with injuries to his hand. Authorities say the man was tracking the elk Saturday in the Rock Creek Tom Minor area after the shooting it the day prior. He reported getting separated from his hunting party before the bear charged him from about 30 yards away and knocked it to the ground. Fish, Wildlife, and Parks Warden Sergeant Matt Wemple said the man was able to deploy bear spray, but the nozzle of the spray got stuck, so he ended up throwing the canister at the bear. The hunter was bit on the hand, but he's going to be all right. Wemple said the bear probably claimed the hunter's kill in the area. Our News Talk time is 6:12.
News Talk, KGVO.
Missoula's official weather station.
Mostly sunny skies today with our high temperatures in the upper 20s and low 30s. Mostly cloudy tonight. Overnight lows will drop into the teens. Highs near 40 on Wednesday will bring in a chance of a rain-snow mix Thursday. I'm meteorologist Brooke Foster for Missoula's KECI 13.